श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयम् करुणालयम् नमामि भगवत्पाद शङ्करम् लोकशङ्करम् सदाशिवसमारम्भाम् शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ताम् वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् वसुदेवसुतम् देवम् कंसचाणूरमर्दनम् देवकी परमानन्दम् कृष्णम् वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्. With the abundant blessings of our Acharya Swamiji, we are proceeding with the study of Srimad Bhagavad Gita along with the Bhashyam of Adi Shankaracharya. We are in chapter 7, Jnana Vijnana Yoga. In this chapter, we have seen the basics of Jnana first. The lower Prakriti and the higher Prakriti. Higher Prakriti is the Jiva and the lower Prakriti is the body and the mind complex. Bhagavan explained in detail. And he mentioned that Maya is the power with which the whole process starts. Mayaya apahrita jnanaha. Because of Maya, people lose their jnana, knowledge. So one has to be careful. And he said, 4 types of people approach me. And out of them, jnani is the best. Though others are also good people. Udara sarvaye maite. They are also good people. Nothing to decry them. But if you have to choose the best is jnani for obvious reasons. Artho jignasur artharthi jnani cha bharatarshambha. Now after that, why people are not becoming jnanis? Why they are not following the path of jnana? Now he is explaining that. Kama ista irhrita jnanaha प्रपद्यन्ते अन्यदेवताः तन्तं नियममास्थाय प्रकृत्या नियता स्वया. People are being told, if you follow this procedure, if you worship this deity for 48 days, you will get rid of this particular problem. You will be blessed with this, that. So this is short-term benefit. Yes, that benefit will definitely accrue, but that is not jnana. But why this happens? Because of kama, desire. Kama istaistaihi hritajnanaha. Taistaihi means so many types, so many varieties of cravings. So jnana is deprived of knowledge by a variety of cravings. Kama istaistaihi hritajnanaha. Anya devataha prapadyante. They don't go to Paramatma for jnana. If you go to Paramatma for jnana, you will get it. Even Anya devata, other devatas, if you seek jnana, they will give you. With the blessing of Paramatma, they will give you. Because they have the approach to Paramatma better than all of us. So you will get that. But if you go to them for a particular want, that want will be fulfilled, but you won't get jnana. That is the point he is making. Anya devataha prapadyante. They resort to other devatas. Kame staistaihi putra pashu sargadi vishayaihi. Adi Shankara says. He is giving some example. Matters related to sun, matter related to domestic animals, because the domestic animal was a very important asset in those days. Sarga, naturally, very coveted. So these are examples of desires which prevent you from asking for jnana. Apahrita viveka vijnanaha. So the question of dispassion, discrimination, that does not even arise. Vasudevat Atmanaha Anyaha Devataha. That means Vasudeva is present. The definition of Vasudeva is he is present everywhere. We saw that. So he is present in you. So Vasudeva, who is present in us, instead of going to him for jnana, we go to somebody else, another devata, and asking for something else. Vasudevat Atmanaha, he is right in you, inside you. Anyaha devataha. Tam tam niyamam asthaya. For every devata, there is a particular set of rules. That is why he is saying tam tam. The respective nema, respective procedure, rules of procedure. Asthaya, following those. Prakritya niyata swaya. Why they do this? They are driven by their prakriti. Swaya prakritya niyata. They are driven by their own nature. Their nature is formed by past karmas, past vasanas, past impressions. So that nature, which has been with them right from birth, they are not able to get over that nature. In fact, the whole exercise is to get over that nature and go to Paramatma for jnana. That exercise they have not succeeded. So they are driven by, overcome, controlled by nayataha. Tam niyamam aasthaye devataradhane prasiddha yayaha niyamaha tam tam. For each devata aradhana, there is a specific procedure. We all follow that. If you want to worship Shiva, Abhisheka Priyaha Shivaha, you do a lot of Abhisheka. If you want to worship Vishnu, Alankara Priyaha Vishnu, you go and do a lot of Alankara. If you go to Surya, Namaskara Priyaha Suryaha, you do Surya Namaskara because he is fond of Namaskara. So like this, for every Devata, there is a set of procedures. That is what he is saying, Tam Tam Niyamam Asthaya. They are all capable of giving jnana. They will all give jnana, but you are not asked for it. कामैस्तैस्तैर्हृतज्ञानाः प्रपद्यन्ते अन्यदेवताः तं तं नियममास्थाय प्रकृत्या नियता स्वया यो यो यां यां तनुं भक्तः श्रद्धयार्चितुमिच्छति तस्य तस्याचलां श्रद्धां तामेव विदधाम्यहम्. Whichever devata you are worshipping, yo yo yam tanum, whichever devata form, tanu means body, devata form, yo yo, whoever worships whichever devata form, whoever bhakta, shraddhaya architum ichhati, he wishes to worship with Shraddha. Shraddha is important, you see. Otherwise, you won't get what you want also. That is why we don't get many of our wants fulfilled, because we don't have the Shraddha which is required. In fact, on Shraddha, there is a separate chapter in Bhagavad Gita which will follow later. Shraddha is vital. We have seen earlier also. Ashraddha Sanamha, he said. So, he was castigating those without Shraddha. So, Shraddha is important. That is why he says, Shraddhaya Architum Ichhati. Whichever devata form you worship, you want to worship, Ichhati. With Shraddha, Tasya Tasyachalam Shraddham Tameva Vidadhamyaham. Shraddha is coming again. Tasya Achalam Shraddham. That faith will not waver. Unchanging Shraddha. I make it like that. He shows Shraddha, I make it unwavering. Tasya achalam shraddham tameva. In that very devata form, the same shraddha, same devata form, I make it aham vidadhami. I make it strong. Sri karomi. Vidadhami means Sri karomi. Shankara explains. Sri karomi means make it firm. I make it firm. I stabilize that. That shraddha, with which he started to worship a particular devata for a particular purpose. I strengthen that because it is Paramatma who has given the powers to each of these devatas. So, if you go to those devatas and ask for something, it is Paramatma who makes your Shraddha strong and make you get that fruit. यो यो यां यां तनुं भक्तः श्रद्धयार्चितुमिच्छति तस्य तस्याचलां श्रद्धां तामेव विदधाम्यहम् स तया श्रद्धया युक्तः तस्याराधनमीहते लभते च ततः कामान् मयैव विहितान् हितान्. He makes it absolutely clear. No scope for doubt. स तया श्रद्धया युक्तः. He is having that possessed of that particular Shraddha. Which particular Shraddha? Shraddha for that particular Devata. That's why he's saying Taya Shraddhaya. That Shraddha. That Shraddha, that faith in that particular Devata. Tatya Aradhanam Ihate. He attempts to worship that Devata. Because all of us, whatever worship we do, cannot be complete. That's why he is using the term Ihate, means attempting. You may not be perfect, but you make an attempt. All of us may keep making attempts in some form or the other of worship. So that is cheshta. Ihate means cheshtati. Means he is making attempt. Attempt may not be exactly as per rules, but still. Tasya aradhanam ihate. Labhate cha tatak kaman. Ayaiva vihitan hitan. Tan kaman. Whichever desire he had in mind. Mayaiva vihitan tataha labhate. I only ordained that he should get those desires. He gets kaman labhate. He gets those desires fulfilled because I said so. I ordained vihita. It was ordained by me that he should get those desires fulfilled because he has approached that devata with Shraddha and he has attempted to worship. So whatever we normally do has been covered here. ततः तस्याः आराधितायाः देवतातन्वाः. Tasyaha he is explaining. Yukta tasyaha aradhanam gihate. Tasyaha means that particular devata whom he wanted to worship. Maya eva kaman maya eva vihitan hitan. Maya eva parameshwarena sarvajnena karma phala vibhagagnataya. By Parameshwara, who is Sarvajna, who knows everything. Karma phala vibhagagnataya. He knows how to provide fruit for your karma. Which fruit for which karma, which level of karma, which level of fruit, how to provide that. He only knows, Parameshwara only knows. Karma phala vibhagagnataya. So, I only provide that. Antavattu phalam tesham tadbhavat devan devayajo yanti madbhakta yanti mamapi. Now he is decrying these ordinary methods because aim is to go to jnana, isn't it? We are in moksha shastra, so we have to stick to our goal. So that is what Bhagavan is doing. He says, this fruit which I only gave them, labhateja tatakam, they are getting that fruit. That fruit has got a certain end. It is not endless. Tesham phalam antavattu. Antavattu means having an end. Anta is end. Antavati having an end. Tad bhavati alpamedhasam. This kind of fruit they get. Who gets? Alpamedhasam. Alpa buddhi. Those whose intellect is diminished, is restricted. So those people get, because their intellect got diminished, because they wanted a restricted fruit. Diminished, because they could have asked for jnana, the highest. They asked for something very small. So alpa. Alpa as against maha. Maha is the jnana. Alpa is all these other fruits. Devan devayajo yanti madbhakta yanti mamapi. If they want a particular devata, if they want to go to a particular devata, they reach that also. That is in addition to other desires which are worldly. Some people may want to go to Swarga, isn't it? Indra. Indra is the devata they worship, they want to go to Swarga. So Devan, Devayajo, Yanti. Some people may worship Surya to go to Surya Loka, Chandra to Chandra Loka, and so on. That is what he is saying. Devan, Devayajo, Yanti, Devayajaha. Those who are worshipping those devas, Devan Yanti. They reach those particular devatas. Madbhakta Yanti Mamapi. If you are Madbhakta, if you are a devotee of mine, then you come to me. Just as you go to a particular devata, if you worship that devata, if you worship me does not mean Krishna. Me means Paramatma. Whichever devata form you worship with the sense of Paramatma and with the sense of Jnana. Then that is what he is saying. Madbhakta yanti mamapi. They come to me. Here, Shankara adds a beautiful sentiment at the end of his explanation. एवं समाने अपि आयासे मामेव न प्रपद्यन्ते अनंत फलाय. Their effort is same. Samane ayasa. Their effort, they have put in a lot of effort for getting their particular desire. If they had put in the same amount of effort to reach me, they would have reached me. Ananta phalaya. That fruit was antavat, having an end. Whereas if they had come to me, it would have been endless. Ananta. अहो खलु कष्टतरं वर्तते इति अनुक्रोशं दर्शयति भगवान्. आहा, what a pity. Kashtaram. Aha, this is misery for these jivas. Like this, he is showing compassion. Iti anukrosham darshayate Bhagavan. Look at the sentiment of Adi Shankara, how nicely he explains why he is bringing this point. Bhagavan is bringing this point. Devan devayajo yanti madbhakta yanti mamapi. So that is being explained like this. Anukrosham darshayati Bhagavan. Bhagavan is showing a lot of compassion, pity. Are these jivas putting the same effort, they could have reached the goal of reaching me. They wasted their effort by asking for limited fruit and limited purpose devatas. So that was the mistake. Samane api ayase. The effort was the same. We are all thinking that effort is much greater. So that Shankara is trying to clarify. Put in the same effort. Yeah, well, this goal is difficult goal, so you may not reach immediately in one birth. At least you will reach it in 2 births, 3 births. Yes, but you have made a lot of progress. Bhagavan has assured that whatever progress you make will be to your account in the next birth also. So, that is the compassion of Bhagavan. सतया श्रद्धया युक्तः तस्याराधनमीहते लभते च ततः कामान् मयैव विहितान् हितान् अन्तवत्तु फलं तेषां तद्भवत्यल्पमेधसां देवान् देवयजो यान्ति मद्भक्ता यान्ति मामपि अव्यक्तं व्यक्तिमापन्नं मन्यन्ते माम् अबुद्धयः परं भावमजानन्तो ममाव्ययमनुत्तमम्. Why this mistake happens? He said earlier, Kama IST because of desire prompted action. He said that. Now he is explaining it once again. Because comparatively they are not analyzing. They should analyze comparatively, isn't it? In fact, in all our worldly activities, we do a comparative analysis for everything. Before you buy anything, you ask 10 brands and then 10 different prices, 10 different models. Then you analyze and finally reach a conclusion. So an ordinary purchase, we do all that. But in this great effort, we don't do that. We are so short-sighted. That is the point he is making. Avyaktam vyaktimapannam manyante mam abuddhayaha. Because they see Krishna. They see means, even though we see Krishna, isn't it? We have all stories about him. All his images are in front of us, in front of our minds. His images are in the form of photos, vigrahas. There are temples where worship is offered. So he is there with us. So we think that he is a limited personality. Krishna means, yes, he will have a flute in his hand. He will, his Bala Leelas, we remember. He went and killed Kamsa. He went and was a charioteer for Arjuna during Mahabharata war, etc., etc. All those Leelas will come to our mind. Nothing wrong. In fact, that is the way of remembering Bhagavan. But that is not, that doesn't qualify Bhagavan. That is only an apparent qualification. What is his inner nature, Satchidananda nature, that we lose sight of? That is the point he is making. Avyaktam vyaktimapannam. Avyaktam. Something which cannot be described in words. That is the personality of Paramatma. Sati Chiti Ananda is only an approximate expression. We have seen it many times. He is ever present. He is form of consciousness, knowledge, and he is form of bliss, an incomparable Ananda. We have seen all that. But this is only to give some idea of what he is. There is no way you can explain Paramatma. That is why he is saying Avyakta. He is something indescribable. Yato vacho nivartante aprapya manasa saha. We have seen it before. Veda says this. Words fail to reach him. Even mind fails to reach. That means imagination also fails to reach him. So he is Avyakta. Vyaktim apannam. The problem is when he appears in the form of an individual like Rama, like Krishna, like Shiva, like Vishnu, like Devi. These are individual manifestations. Kamakshi, yes. But that is a manifestation. That is not entire Paramatma, isn't it? A partial manifestation. So they think that Vyakti, that individual whom they see, is a full representation. Avyaktam Vyaktimapannam, something which is indescribable. They think it has taken a form. That is the problem. Manyante mam abuddhayaha. Mam manyante. Mam is Paramatma. Paramatma has taken this form. Paramatma is beyond description, but Paramatma is now, he has come within our description. This is what abuddhaya. People with poor intellect, they think like that. Manyante, they consider. Parambhavam ajanantaha mama vyayam anuttamam. Mama parambhavam avyayam anuttamam ajanantaha. Because Rama had a specific lifetime on earth. Krishna had a specific lifetime on earth. Now is Paramatma having a lifetime? Does Paramatma have a form, have a body, have a particular Leela? All these are manifestations for our guidance. So we have to understand Paramatma is much above all this. Parambhavam, highly different. Avyayam anuttamam. What is the quality of Paramatma? Avyayam. He never changes. Ever the same. Anuttamam, unsurpassed. He is the highest. So this is what you should think. That he is Avyaya, he is Anuttam. Niratishayam, Madhiyam Bhavam Ajanantaha. Niratishayam means excellent, something unsurpassed. That is what you should understand. Param Bhavam Ajanantaha. They don't realize that. They don't realize that. They get carried away by what they see, by what they hear. They don't realize that Paramatma is there in front of them, and Paramatma is there for willing to bless you with jnana. So that link is lost. We think this is a restricted person and we should go with a restricted requirement. That is where the mistake happens. Why this mistake happens? Naham prakasha sarvasya yogamaya samavrataha mudhoyam nabhijanati loko mamajam avyayam. Because I am not clear to everyone. Naham prakasha sarvasya. Aham sarvasya na prakasha. I am not clear. I am not well lit. You cannot see me for all, for everyone. Everyone means all living beings. Everyone, all living beings do not understand this. Why? Yogamaya samavrataha. Because I am surrounded by Yogamaya. Now he is coming out with that fact. Because I am surrounded by Yogamaya. Yoga means something which is always present. Maya which is always present. Yogaha gunanam yuktihi ghatanam saiva maya yogamaya. Yogaha mama sankalpaha tad vashavartini maya yogamaya. There are two meanings. Madhusudana Saraswati gives. Yoga is his sankalpa, means ever present. Tad vashavartini maya. It is under the control of Bhagavan. That is yoga maya. Otherwise, yoga by definition means unification, isn't it? Yoga by definition means unification. We have been understanding yoga as unification of Jiva with Paramatma, isn't it? So here, yoga by root meaning means unification of something with something else. Gunanam yuktihi, because the three gunas, sattva, rajas, tamas, are together present in Yogamaya. That is why it is known as Yogamaya. Saiva Maya. Yeah. Why Maya is called Yogamaya? Because it is not a single entity. It has got three entities inside that. That is why it is called Yogamaya. One reason. Another reason is it is ever present as a permanent power of Paramatma. So it is Yoga. So Yogamaya Samavrataha. Because I am surrounded by, I am veiled, I am concealed. Samavrataha. Avrata, we have seen before. Maya has got two Shaktis, Avarana Shakti and Vikshepa Shakti. So that is Avarana Shakti is mentioned here. Samavrataha, veiled, concealed by Yogamaya, because it is always there surrounding him. No way you can see. If you have a person surrounded by 10 people all around him, you won't see that person who is inside. That is how it is. Mudhoyam nadhijanati loko mamajamavyayam. Ayam mudhaha lokaha. This world which is deluded. This world is deluded. All jivas are deluded because of what they see around them. This world is so beautiful. This world is so attractive. That is a product of Maya. So they get deluded. Abhijanati mam. They don't recognize me. They recognize Maya, they don't recognize me. That is the problem with Maya's Avarana Shakti. They recognize the Maya which is surrounding, which is veiling, which is concealing Paramatma. They don't realize Paramatma. Mam Ajam Avyayam. Ajam, unborn. He is never born, he is ever present. Avyayam, immutable. There is no mutation, there is no change, there is no decay. This is the reason for people going to other devatas with limited desires. They don't realize, even when they go to Rama, Krishna, Shiva, Devi, they confine themselves to that particular form and they lose sight of Paramatma. And because Advaita believes only in one Paramatma. That is the point he is making here. Advaita, there are not many Paramatmas. There is only one Paramatma who expresses himself in various manifestations, various forms. So whichever form you worship, you are welcome to worship any form. But you should keep this in mind that that is a form of Paramatma, one of the many forms. That is why in our Advaita culture, there is no question of decrying any other philosophy or any other worship. There is nothing degrading about other methods because we feel everything is the same. There's only one. Yes, they call it by a different name. Okay, let them do it. Even Dvaita, Vishishtadvaita, etc., or steps in reaching Advaita that we can easily understand. We are all in a state of Dvaita. We don't know what is Advaita. So we have to go from Dvaita only. Then we go to Vishishtadvaita, which is in between. Because Vishishtadvaita attaches a certain reality to human body, to the world of Vishnu, etc., etc. Okay, we grant that. We don't dispute that. So that is a step which you have to go through. So from pure Dvaita, you go to Vishishtadvaita, then finally you go to Advaita, where there is no second, there is only one, that is Paramatma, no form, nothing, no gunas, only Sati, Chitu, Ananda. That is the final goal. So before that, these are the steps. So we never dispute, we never say that is wrong, this is bad. That attitude is not with Advaitis. That is the point he is making here. They don't recognize me. That is the problem because they have to come through that step. Mudoyam na abhijanati. They don't recognize me. He does not know me. Avyaktam vyaktimapannam manyante maam abuddhayaha param bhavamajananto mamavyayamanuttama aham prakashas sarvasya yogamaya samakritaha मूढ़ोऽयं नाभिजानाति लोको मामजमव्ययम् वेदाहं समतीतानि वर्तमानानि चार्जुन भविष्याणि च भूतानि मां तु वेद न कश्चन हे अर्जुन अहं समतीतानि वर्तमानानि वेद whatever has gone in the past, that is atita, samatitani, whatever has happened in the past. Vartamanani, what is happening right now in front of us. Everything I know. What is past, I know. What is present, I know. Past and present, even future, he is not mentioning. Past, present, and future, I know. But do you know? No, you don't. Bhavishyani cha bhutani, Bhavishyani has come, the future. Samatitani, Vartamanani, Bhavishyani. Bhavishyani is future. So past, present, and future, I know. Bhavishyani cha bhutani, Mam tu vedana kaschana. Bhutani, for all living beings. For all living beings, I know their past, I know their present, I know their future. But does anybody know me? Kaschana mam na veda. Nobody knows me. Nobody knows me. Because of that yoga maya, because of that limited knowledge. Madbhaktam madcharanam ekam mukva madtattva vedana bhavadeva namam bhajate. Mam tu veda na kaschana means it's not that they don't know there is a Paramatma. Well, we are all learning that there is Paramatma. Yes. Learning is not what he is talking about. Recognizing and bringing it into practice, he is talking about. That is Veda. They don't know me, they don't recognize. He said Abhijanati, isn't it? Same idea he is coming. The reason is Maya. Madbhaktam, Madcharanam, Ekam, Muktva. There are very few people who are my devotees and who take refuge in me. So because na Kashchana is nobody. Nobody does not mean 100% excluded. No, there are some people, that is what Shankara is explaining. Madbhaktam, Madcharanam, Ekam Muktva. Very few. Ekam means one or two. Some my devotees, those who take refuge in me. Other than them, Mattattva Vedana Bhavadeva Namam Bhajate, because they don't understand the truth of my being, the truth of Paramatma. They don't understand. That is why they don't even worship me. Namam Bhajate. This is Shankara's explanation. Whereas I know all the past, all the present, all the future of all living beings, but nobody knows Paramatma. There is a person who knows everything. We don't realize that. That is the point he is making. If you realize, then you would have tried to get out of this samsara cycle, because you would have tried to attain the state of Paramatma. That you have not done. That is why he is making the statement. Ichhadvesha samutsvena dvandvamohena bharata sarvabhutani sammoham sarge yanti parantapa. Why they don't know? Mam tu Veda na kashchana hete, isn't it? Why? What is it preventing? He said Yoga Maya. Now he is going into further details. Iksha Dvesha Samuthena Dvandva Mohena Bharata. He Bharata. Sarge Yanti Sarvabhutani. Sarvabhutani. All living beings. This is applicable to everyone. All living beings. Sarge Sammoham Yanti. Sarge means right at their birth. Right at their birth, they are deluded. In fact, there are statements that made in Shastras about human birth. When the human being is in the mother's womb, when his mind, etc., has developed, let us say about 8th month, 9th, all this are described in detail in Shastras. 7th month, 8th month, when there is full development of the mental faculty, then that child, that baby inside the mother's womb thinks, I'm suffering so much, because there is a lot of suffering. This child goes through unbearable suffering when it is in mother's womb. So, I am going through all this suffering because I did not worship Paramatma all these janmas. He thinks that that thought, that knowledge is given to that child by Bhagavan. Look at that. Look at the very interesting disclosure being made in Puranas. That child thinks again and again and again, I have made a mistake by not worshipping Paramatma. That is why I am coming back to this birth again. Repeatedly, I will not commit this mistake now. After being born, I will not commit the same mistake which I have committed in my previous births, and that is what has landed me in this misery. The child thinks like that. I mean, it will be very difficult for us to believe that a baby yet to be born is thinking on these lines. But you have to have faith in Shastras. Shastra says this clearly. But all this is there till the moment of birth. I mean, this is the beauty of the description. Till the moment, till the very last moment of birth, this thought is there with the baby. The moment it is born, the moment it touches earth, leaving mother's body, immediately, at that very instant, Maya takes over. Shastra says this. Maya takes over, completely it forgets all that thought which was there in the baby's mind. All these months, more than a month, it has been thinking. But the thought is completely as if it was never there. It is completely left. And it starts crying for milk, etc. It sees the world around it and gets covered by Maya. That is the point Bhagavan is making here. Sarge, right at the time of birth. Sammoham yanti, they get deluded because of Bhagavan's Maya. Hey Parantapa. Why they get sammoham? Ichha dvesha samuthena dvandva mohena bharata. Because there is always the dvandva, duality. Everything is dual. There is a pleasure, there is a pain. That is the beauty of life, human life. Nothing is single. Everything is dual. Nothing is endless. Everything has got an end. Pleasure has to end. Pain has to come. Cold has to end. Heat has to come. So there is dvandva, duality. Then you like something, you hate something. You like cold, you hate heat, or other way around. So ichha dvesha samuthena, because of this, rise, samutha means rising. Because of the rise in the mind of ichha and dvesha, that is why they get deluded. Now, Shankara goes into a little more detail here. इच्छाद्वेषौ शीतोष्णवत् परस्परविरुद्धौ सुखदुःख तद्धेतु विषयौ यथा कालं सर्वभूतैः सम्बध्यमानौ. They have attachment to all living beings at all times, coming in different times. But they come. What comes? Shitoshnavati, like cold and heat. Paraspara viruddhav, they are mutually contradictory, mutually hostile. Sukha-dukkha hetu vishayav, they are the cause of pain and misery. Yatha kalam, at appropriate times, they will keep coming. That is the dvandva. Dvandva shabdena abhidiyate. तत्र यदा इच्छाद्वेषौ सुखदुःख तद्धेतु सम्प्राप्तया लब्धात्मकौ भवतः. When this happens, when this duality attacks you, सर्वभूतानां प्रज्ञायाः स्ववशिद आपादनद्वारेण, the intelligence of living being is completely frozen, hidden. परमार्थात्मतत्व विषय ज्ञानोत्पत्ति प्रतिबंध कारणेन, even jnana utpatti, even the fleeting knowledge of Paramatma, Paramartha Atma Tattva Vishaya. If Paramatma is there in me, he is the Atma, that Vishaya, that subject, that jnana utpatti, that rise of jnana is not happening because of this getting involved, getting entangled in this duality. न हि इच्छाद्वेषदोषपरवशीकृतचित्तस्य यथाभूतार्थविषयज्ञानम् उत्पद्यते बहिरपि. Now he is coming down to our level. Shankara, he says, even in mundane matters, forget spiritual matters, even in ordinary worldly matters, when you are overcome by a strong sense of desire or a strong sense of hatred, then you cannot see things in proper perspective. This nobody can dispute. This is our everyday experience. When that is the case with analyzing worldly matters, understanding worldly matters, because you overcome with Icha and how are you ever going to understand Paramatma? That is the question he is raising. Kimu vaktavyam, what to say? ताभ्याम आविष्ट बुद्धेः सम्मूढ़स्य प्रत्यगात्मनि बहुप्रतिबंधे ज्ञानम नोत्पद्यते. बहुत प्रतिबंधे, there are too many obstacles before you can go to jnana. So what is the surprise in this? सर्वभूतानि सम्मोहितानि माम आत्मभूतं न जानन्ति. Though I am very much present in them as Atma, they don't realize that. अतः एव आत्मभावेन माम न भजन्ते. That is why they don't recognize me and worship me as their own Atma. This Atma point is coming again and again. If you think that Paramatma is somewhere at a distance, that will not help. You have to know it is with you, right in your Hridaya. Why? He is going to emphasize it again and again. Because at the time of death, everything around you is going to be taken away. So if you have made a practice of remembering Atma, Atma is ever present in you, guiding you. So it is easy, more easy to recognize Atma at the time of death. That is the point he is trying to indicate here. वेदाहं समतीतानि वर्तमानानि च अर्जुन भविष्याणि च भूतानि मां तु वेद न कश्चन इच्छाद्वेषसमुत्थेन द्वन्द्वमोहेन भारत सर्वभूतानि सम्मोहं सर्गे यान्ति परन्तप येषां त्वन्तगतं पापं जनानां पुण्यकर्मणां ते द्वन्द्वमोहनिर्मुक्ताः भजन्ते मां दृढव्रताः. Then how to come out of this cycle? The cycle keeps happening, isn't it? Because you are saying right at the time of birth, you are overcome by some moha. You cannot recognize Paramatma. Then this is going to happen in every birth. Is there any end to this? Yes. When there is an end to your papa, because of your papa, the Maya has become very powerful. There are born jnanis. For them also the same moha should be there, isn't it? What happened to Ramana Maharshi? What happened to Ramakrishna Paramahamsa? They were born as ordinary human beings. They spent ordinary childhood like all of us did. How did they become new? Because their cycle of papa came to an end. So you should try for more and more punya and eradication of more and more papa. Then you will also reach that state. That is the clue he is giving. Yesham tvantagatam papam jananam punya karmanam. Yesham janana, those people, antagatam papam, papa has come to an end. Papa has to come to an end, mind you, not in small quantity, minuscule, no. Antagatam, it has to come to an end. Punya karmanam, because they have been doing punya all along, they have brought their papa account to zero. Te dvandvamoha nirmuktaha bhajante maam dridham vrataha. Dvandvamoha nirmuktaha. We were talking about the duality, isn't it? They get released from the delusion of the duality. Release from the delusion of duality. Dvandva moha nirmuktaha. Dridhavrataha. That is very important. Dridhavrataha is very important. You may get Vairagya, Viveka, for a fleeting second. That is not enough. It has to remain with you permanently. So that is what happens to these extraordinary people. Dridham Vrataha. Mam Bhajante. Because he said, no, nobody comes to me, he said. Na Kashkana, he said. Now he is giving an exception. There are, yes, some people. So, Punya Karmanaha Yesham Sattva-Shuddhi Karanam Vidyate. Their mind is purified. What is Punya Karma? Their mind is purified. Sattva-Shuddhi Karanam Vidyate. Evameva Paramartha Tattvam Nanyatha. Because they are firm in their pursuit, Dridhavrataha. They are firm in their pursuit. Evameva Paramartha Tattvam Nanyatha. Now they don't get confused like ordinary people do. No confusion in there. This is how Paramartha Tattvam will be. This is the definition of Paramartha Tattva, the truth of Paramatma. Na anyatha, not otherwise. There is no if and but. There is no, yes, this could be that, that could be this. All these are only in our worldly matters. Here it is a very clear-cut question. Either it is Paramatma or it is not Paramatma. We are all in not Paramatma matters, whereas they are only in Paramatma. Evameva Paramartha Tattvam Apatha. Ityevam Sarva Parityaga Vratena. That is why they have left everything behind. Sarva Parityaga. Nishchita Vijnanaha Dridhavrataha Uchyante. Dridhavrataha he is explaining. What is Dridhavrataha? He is explaining it. Nishchita Vijnanaha. Their mind is absolutely determined. That is why they reach me, they worship me. Worship me means they reach me ultimately. येषां त्वन्तगतं पापं जनानां पुण्यकर्मणां ते द्वन्द्वमोहनिर्मुक्ता भजन्ते मां दृढव्रताः जरामरणमोक्षाय मामाश्रित्य यतन्ति ये ते ब्रह्म तद्विदुः कृत्स्नमध्यात्मं कर्म चाखिलम्. Now this shloka and the next one, which is the closing shloka of this chapter, introduces certain terms. Those terms we will now try to understand in our normal understanding, what it normally means. But there are some special meanings which Bhagavan is attaching to those terms, which Bhagavan himself is explaining in the next chapter. So he is laying the foundation for the next chapter here in these two shlokas. Jara Marana Mokshaya Mam Ashritya Ye Yatanti. Those people who take refuge in me and make effort, yatanti. Taking refuge in me is not a one-time activity. Okay, I go and fall at somebody's feet, I have taken refuge. It's not like that. It's a continuous effort. Yatanti is a very important word here. Continuously they are working towards taking refuge in me. Jara Marana Mokshaya. They take refuge in me for what purpose? For release from Jara and Marana, death and old age and death. Means what? Samsara, cycle of birth and death. If you are born, Jara and Marana have to happen. That means you have to avoid birth. That is avoiding samsara. Jara Marana Mokshaya Mam Ashritya Ye Yatanti. Those who take refuge in me for this purpose, and they work continuously for that. Te Brahma Tadvidu Krishnam Jatmam Karma Chakhilam. They Tat Brahma Viduhu. They know what is known as Brahma, what is known as Tat. Tat Tvam Asi, isn't it? That is the Mahavakya. Tat refers to Paramatma, Tvam refers to Jivatma. Asi means there is no difference. You are the same that Paramatma. Don't think you are Jivatma. Don't think you are restricted to this body. This is what Veda teaches us, Upanishad teaches us. So he says, these people who have left behind everything, Sarva Parityaga, he said, doesn't it? Adi Shankara. So they have taken refuge in me. So they know now they have come to the right goal. Tat Brahmam. This is the Parabrahmam. I have reached that. Te Viduhu. They have come to know. Krishnam Adhyatmam. Akhilam Karma. Krishnam Adhyatmam. Adhyatma means residing in the body. Atma, which is residing in the body, is Adhyatma. Paramatma is present everywhere. It is one and the same. But to our limited understanding, because we are limited people, we are talking about two terms. Paramatma present everywhere. Atma, which is present in our body. Both are same. That Adhyatma refers to Atma present in our body. Adhyatma means matter relating to Atma. Krishnam, all matters relating to Atma. All matters means what? He has explained all that. Lower nature, higher nature, how all our sense organs function, Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha, and everyday activities. He has explained all that. That is Krishna Madhyatma. Because everything is Atma only. Body is Jada, inert. How can it function? How can it have any Chaitanya? So, Adhyatmam Krishnam, entire Adhyatma. Akhilam Karma, similarly, all activities. Means the karma can be interpreted in many ways. Bhagavan is going to interpret in a particular way next chapter. But here we can take the general meaning. That means karma cha akhilam. Akhilam karma. Whatever activity this human being is engaged in is all related to Atma only. Otherwise, he is capable of nothing. This they understand. This is entirely within their understanding because they have come to me and they are going to get rid of their Jara and Marana because of this. Te Brahma Tadvidu Krishnam Jara-Marana-Mokshaya Mamashritya Yatanti Ye Te Brahma Tadvidu Krishnam Adhyatmam Karma Chakilam Sadhi Bhodadi-Devam Mam Sadhi Yajnam Chaye Viduhu Prayana Kale Vitamam Te Vidur Yukta Chayatasa. Yukta Chetasaha, because their mind is ever attached to Bhagavan. Their mind is ever attached to Paramatma. That is why they are Yukta Chetasaha. Sadhi Bodhadi Daivam Mam Sadhi Yajnam Cha Ye Viduhu. Because once you are in a human body, there are lots of activities. Karma cha achilam, he said. Now he is taking some activities which you think are very religious. Adhiyajna. Yajna which you do. In our normal understanding, we can take whatever japa, whatever puja, whatever worship, whatever parayana you do, can be taken as yajna in our limited sense, though he is meaning the regular yajna. Adi yajnam chaye viduhu. Who is that yajna? Who is taking care of that yajna? Who is protecting that yajna? Rama went and protected the yajna of Vishwamitra, we see in Ramayana. Similarly, this yajna, who is protecting? Atma is protecting. Otherwise, can you do anything? Can you do any japa? Can you do any worship? So that they have understood. Adhibhuta, Adhidaivam, Adhibhuta, Adhidaivam. Adhibhuta relating to body. Adhidaivam relating to divinity. Relating to body, relating to divinity. Or you can take as, Bhuta can be taken as elements. 5 elements. That means all around you. All around you there are 5 elements. Prithvi, up, Tejas, etc., etc. Now, all these 5 elements, right up to Akasha, all around us are also in our body. All our body, all our everything, all creation is made up of these 5 elements. So, who are these 5 elements? They are only Paramatma. So, Adhibhuta, who is controlling these 5 elements or controlling your body, which means the same. Adhidaivam, there is somebody who is controlling the entire creation and your body also. So that is Adhidaiva. So all this they have understood. They have understood, but did they understand it at the time of death? That is the next question. Prayanakale pichamam kevidur yukta chetataha prayanakale api, even at the time of death. Prayana is normally understood as travel. Even in vernacular, we use prayana. But here it is a long travel, not ordinary travel. This is a long travel. So travel from this body to some other body. So even at the time of death, te mam viduhu yukta chetataha, because they are attached to me at all times. They have never left me. So even at that time, when the body is suffering enormously, what is the significance of prayanakala? At that time, the body is suffering enormously, right like the birth we saw. Even inside the mother's womb, and right at the time of birth, the baby is suffering enormously. Same. Now, when the jiva is going to leave the body, same suffering, or even more suffering. So, at that time, it will be impossible to think of Paramatma, to think of Bhagavan. But these are jnanis. They don't care for their body. They have detached themselves from their body. So, prayanakale picha, even during the prayanakala. Te mam viduhu yukta chetasaha, because their mind is ever attached to me, they don't fail to know me. They know me. Te mam viduhu. This is a statement made because they have been training themselves. He is going to explain that further again in the next chapter also. That this is not a one-time activity. This you have to do continuously. Then only this is possible. But all these terms, that is Brahma, Adhyatmam, Karma, Adhibhutam, Adhidaivam, Adhiyajnam. There are 6 terms which we have understood in our normal manner so far. But he is giving special meaning in the next chapter, which we will see when we go to the next chapter. इति श्री महाभारते शतसाहस्र्यां संहितायां वैयासिक्यां भीष्मपर्वणि श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुनसंवादे ज्ञानविज्ञानयोगो नाम सप्तमोऽध्यायः. So we close for the day. We meet again tomorrow at 7 a.m. IST, tomorrow Sunday morning, and we will continue with next chapter, chapter 8. Any questions?
Those who have questions, please unmute yourself, turn on your video and ask questions. Any questions, anybody?
Namaskaram. Normally, as we, as normal humans, we are having Ishta Devata and we are supposed to be completely attached to that or have a full faith in that and follow so that we will go to moksha. Now in the chapter, now it has been telling that various Devatas, if you are attached to, then also then you are not able to remember the Paramatma or not able to reach him. So that is a little confusing.
No. There is no contradiction. We have to understand the context. Now, when you go to Ishta Devata for a limited purpose, because all our Shastras generally give directions for prosperity, welfare in this world, when you are in this body. All directions are towards that, generally. So when they tell you to go to Ishta Devata, this is the basis. Same Ishta Devata, you go, nobody is stopping you. You go to the same Ishta Devata, but when you go to that Ishta Devata, pray for Jnana and pray as if he is Paramatma. Don't restrict Ishta Devata to that form which is there in front of you. He is only a form. Just as in a drama, the same actor comes in different forms. You don't misunderstand him. You understand that he is so and so. He has come in a particular form. Similarly, Shastra says it clearly that you must recognize this form is a limited form only for our convenience, for our being able to focus. So, but we should not lose sight that he is Paramatma and we should opt for jnana. Nobody is stopping from doing all your procedures with Ishta Devata, all whatever you have been doing, continue to do. No, he's not stopping us any time. He's only saying that your attitude is not the right attitude.
I mean, does that mean that unless you go beyond that Ishtadevata form also, that you are not going to gain the knowledge?
Exactly. There is no harm in going to Ishtadevata, but you have to understand that there are other devatas also who are also manifestations of Paramatma. So I have been told to go here, no harm, I will go to him, but he is same as the other people. There is only one. That knowledge cannot be lost sight of if you want to go for higher jnana.
Because the confusion has come. Even Adi Shankara has made hymns on all deities. So
that is correct. That is for ordinary people. So he has come down to various levels. You have to start somewhere. There is a starting point. Nobody denies that. There is no denying that. Otherwise, we will not be doing all this. Shastras will not be telling us to do all this. That is a step. I said a few minutes ago, we have to go from Dvandva to Dvaita to Vishishta-Dvaita to Advaita. So what we just now talked about is Advaita. And what we are doing is Dvaita. So that is a chasm.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah. No questions, Guruji.
No, okay. We close for the day and we meet again tomorrow morning at 7. Nama Parvati Pataye Hara Hara Mahadeva Sarvatra Govinda Nama Sankirtanam Govinda Govinda Sri Raja Rajeswari Jaya Jaya.
The recording has stopped.
Thank you everyone for joining. Har Har Shankara, Jai Jai Shankara. I'm ending the meeting.